It's LeGarrette Blunt here, man, 3-time Super Bowl champion. I just want to give you a shout out to the YouTube channel, MicroMike, man.
Eddie Murray, former Detroit Lion. Make sure you watch MicroMike on YouTube.
Calvin Johnson Jr. here, aka Megatron. Big shout out to MicroMike and YouTube channel, man.
Keep on talking everything Detroit Lions, and I just got to remind you, man, happy wife, happy life.
What's going on YouTube? This is your boy Mr. MicroMike, and today we're going to talk about 5 players that are on the Detroit Lions roster bubble as of now. Before I get into the video, hit that like button, please. It helps get the algorithm up for my channel, and that would be greatly appreciated because I'm going against a lot of individuals in the legacy media, and for me to get my voice out, that will help. With that said, roster bubble players happen every year. This one's a little bit different, a little bit quirky due to the pandemic, as well as now we have 55 men on the roster, and so seeing who's going to make the roster is very important, and to understand kind of what Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn may be thinking for their 55-man roster. Before we get into the main 5 that I put on the roster bubble, let's do some honorable mentions, and we'll start with Austin Bryant. He has had an injury-plagued career so far as a Detroit Lion. We need him to really step up this year, but we notice in camp he's still injured. He's having these issues. It really hurts that this has happened. I still think he makes the team, but watch for him as well. Hopefully he can come together, get healthy, and be an individual for the Lions defensive line that we need him to be. Kenny Wiggins, the offensive guard, the veteran that we have, he's been on the roster. He's an individual that's been filling in for injuries, a veteran presence. However, with Aboushi, us drafting so many other individuals on this team, Jonah Jackson, Stenberg, we got Boden, we have a lot of young talent. I think he's an individual that could be mentioned as a honorable mention for the Detroit Lions roster bubble in that sense. David Blau, the quarterback, I still think he makes the team, but we have worked out a couple quarterbacks in the past couple of weeks. We may just decide to go 2 quarterbacks on this roster. We'll see what happens there. I still think he does make the roster, but he is an individual to pay attention to. My guy, Scarbrough, I still think he makes the roster, but I do think he's an individual to watch for. They brought in Jonathan Williams. They do have a fairly deep running back core. It'll be interesting to see who wins the battle for the running backs, but he is an individual who is an honorable mention to possibly not make the roster. Jalen Reeves Mabin, the linebacker for the Detroit Lions. He's another individual I want to pay attention to. I do think he makes the roster because, in my opinion, he's better than a couple other individuals out there. You know, my favorite guy of all time, Christian Jones. But he is an individual I want to pay attention to, but I do think he makes the roster. But he is an individual I'd like to say can be an honorable mention. Mike Ford, the cornerback. He's an individual that needs to be in the conversation as an honorable mention. I think he does to make the roster because to me, he's better than a couple other cornerbacks on the roster, such as D. Virgin. But watch for his name. Again, he was an individual that came out of nowhere. A couple of years ago as an undrafted rookie, he did fairly well and decent. He's still growing. We haven't heard a whole lot of him at camp, but he's an individual as an honorable mention. For the first guy on my list, number 5, the individual that I would say is on the roster bubble is running back Ty Johnson. Last year, we drafted Ty Johnson in the 6th round. He was a very speedy running back who brought versatility. If you can get him in the open field, could make a big difference. High potential for his speed because he can not just be on offense, but he can do special teams as well. However, the Detroit Lions drafted Huntley this NFL draft, and Huntley is that versatile speed player who can do special teams, who can play an offense, both as a running back as a wide receiver. This is kind of what Ty Johnson was supposed to do. Last year, we've seen that Ty Johnson has having a little bit issues running between the tackles and trying to get those big time yards that we wanted him to get when we drafted him last year. With the big competition in the running back room, when it comes to DeAndre Swift, Kerryon Johnson, Bo Scarborough, and Huntley and Ty Johnson, to me, Ty Johnson is on the roster bubble. Guard Oday Aboushi. We drafted 2 guards in this last draft when it comes to Jonah Jackson as well as Stenberg. We also have Kenny Wiggins and Boden on the roster for swing guards. When it comes to Oday Aboushi, I feel like he could be the odd man out in regards to the guard position. You can have so many individuals on the offensive line, and with so much young talent on the roster, it's hard for me to assume that Kenny Wiggins, Oday Aboushi, both will be on the roster. I believe Kenny Wiggins may have an inch up on this, and that would subtract Oday Aboushi from the Detroit Lions roster. Safety linebacker Miles Killebrew. Miles Killebrew has been on this team since he joined the Lions a couple years ago in the draft. He has played multiple positions, and he has been on the roster bubble for many, many years since he's been in the league. He can play safety, linebacker, and special teams. However, with us trading for Duron Harmon, with us adding Harris in the draft in the 3rd round a year ago, it's important to understand that the Lions are trying to maybe switch it up a little bit in regards to the safety position, and obviously we've seen the millions of ads in the linebacking core, and that hurts Miles Killebrew's chances to make the roster. So he is definitely in the roster bubble. He may make it due to special teams, but watch for his name coming soon when cuts do start happening. You know, my guy Travis Troxel loves Nick Boden, but to me, Nick Boden is on the roster bubble. Why do you say that? Because he has been injured the last couple of years, and we drafted tight end Isaac Nada last year, who can not only just play tight end, but he can play fullback as well, and he did a fairly decent job. The Detroit Lions are all about versatility, multiple positions for a single player who can do and help out on many factors of a team. Nick Boden has been injured. He has a position that doesn't have a whole lot of players in it, the fullback position, and Isaac Nada can do that position as well as tight end. So I think Nick Boden is definitely on the roster bubble. Jamal Agnew. Yes, you knew I was going to say Jamal Agnew. He has been on the roster bubble the last couple years, miffing some punts. He played cornerback position. We utilize him as a Swiss Army knife on offense. He has been an individual that can have great games but also can have down games. Again, when we add in Huntley, that hurt the chances of Jamal Agnew in regards to the special teams. Jamal Agnew doesn't contribute at all, really, at the cornerback position. For him to make the roster, he's got to do well at the wide receiver core. However, the Detroit Lions wide receiver core is extremely, extremely deep, and it's going to be very difficult for Jamal Agnew to win and take the final spot of the wide receiver. Are we going to go 5? Are we going to go 6? If we go 5, to my opinion, Jamal Agnew definitely does not make the cut. He's not beating out Marvin Jones, Kenny Galladay, Danny Amendola, Hall, and Cephas, who we drafted this last year. Jamal Agnew must make the team on special teams. He must do a fantastic job as a wide receiver, and to me, it's going to be very difficult for him to make that. So these are my 5 players who are on the roster bubble. Tell me what you believe I did right. What do you think I did wrong? Comment, comment, comment. Who do you think is on the roster bubble? Is there a name I missed? Let me know. Hit that like button. Adios.